Commander Jake Morrison walked across the bridge of the UES Horizon. The ship was huge, bigger than any human vessel ever built for deep space travel. It had been flying through empty space for 3 months now, looking for new worlds and checking on old mining stations. Jake liked these quiet missions. It gave him time to think and his crew time to rest. The bridge was busy, but calm. Officers sat at their stations, watching screens full of data about nearby stars and planets. Lieutenant Maya Rodriguez worked at the communications desk, listening for any signals from Earth or the outer colonies. She had been doing this job for 2 years and rarely found anything interesting. That changed at 14:30 ship time. Maya's screen started flashing red. Strange sounds came from her speakers. She put on her headphones and listened carefully. Her face went pale. She looked up at Jake with wide eyes. "Ah!" "Commander, you need to hear this," Maya said. Her voice was shaking. Jake walked over to her station. "What is it, Rodriguez?" "Sir, I'm picking up a transmission. It's not from any human ship or colony. The language is completely unknown." "But sir, it sounds like they're in trouble." Jake felt his heart beat faster. First contact with alien life had always been possible, but it had never happened before. Humans had been exploring space for 50 years and found nothing but empty worlds and dead rocks. "Put it on the main speakers," Jake ordered. The bridge went quiet. Everyone stopped what they were doing. The strange sounds filled the room. It was definitely a voice, but unlike any human language, the tone was desperate, frightened, even without understanding the words, everyone could hear the fear. Dr. Nathan Brooks hurried onto the bridge. He was the ship's language expert, a thin man with gray hair who loved solving puzzles. He had studied every human language and several computer codes. His eyes lit up when he heard the alien transmission. "This is incredible," Nathan whispered. He sat down at an empty station and started working. "Maya, can you record this and run it through the translation computers?" "Already doing it," Dr. Maya replied. Her fingers moved quickly across her keyboard. Captain Lisa Harper entered the bridge. She was a tough woman in her 40s who had fought space pirates near the outer colonies. She had scars on her hands and a reputation for never backing down from a fight. Jake had served under her for 3 years and trusted her completely. "Report," Lisa said simply. Jake explained what they had found. Lisa listened without speaking, her face serious. She had fought enough battles to recognize the sound of someone calling for help. "How long until we have a translation?" Lisa asked. Nathan looked up from his screen. "The computer's working on it now. The mathematical patterns suggest intelligence, definitely. Give me 20 minutes. Lisa nodded. "Morrison, plot our current position." "Rodriguez, keep recording that signal and see if you can boost the strength. I want to know where it's coming from." The next 20 minutes felt like hours. The alien voice kept speaking, sometimes loud, sometimes quiet. Sometimes it sounded like crying. Dr. Amanda Price, the ship's doctor who also studied human behavior, came to the bridge to listen. "They're terrified," Amanda said quietly. "Fear sounds the same in any language." Finally, Nathan's computer beeped. Words began appearing on his screen. He read them once, then again. His face went white. "Captain," he said slowly, "you need to see this." Lisa walked over to Nathan's station. Jake followed her. The translated message appeared on the main screen for everyone to read. "Please, anyone who can hear this message, you're the Zelani people. Our world is dying. The Vorok have come to our system. They have taken our home planet. Our people are being captured and eaten. We have only a few ships left. We're running, but they are faster. We will all be dead soon. Please, if there is anyone out there who can help us, we are sending our location. We have children with us. Please help. Please." The bridge was completely silent. Jake felt sick to his stomach. Somewhere out there, people were being hunted and killed. They were asking for help from anyone who might hear them. Maya's voice broke the silence. "Captain, I've traced the signal. It's coming from the Kepler 442 system, about 6 light-years from here." Lisa stared at the message for a long time. Jake knew what she was thinking. The Horizon was just one ship with 200 people. They were explorers, not soldiers. They had some weapons for fighting pirates, but nothing designed for real war. What do we know about this Vorok? Lisa asked. Nathan worked at his computer again. Nothing in our databases, Captain. Based on the message, they sound like predators. They hunt other intelligent species. How long to reach the Kepler 442 system? Lisa asked. At maximum speed, about 18 hours, the navigation officer replied. Lisa walked to the center of the bridge. She looked at each of her officers. Jake could see her making the decision that would change everything. Dr. Price, Lisa said. What's your professional opinion about this message? Amanda stepped forward. Captain, these people are genuinely terrified. They're not lying or trying to trick us. They're dying, and they're desperate enough to call out to complete strangers for help. And what are the chances that we can actually help them against these Vorok? Lisa asked. Jake spoke up. Captain, we don't know how many ships they have or what kind of weapons. This could be suicide. Lisa smiled grimly. Morrison, in all our years together, have you ever known me to walk away from people who need help? Jake sighed. He had known this was coming.
Oh, Captain.
I haven't. Lisa turned to face the main screen where the alien message still displayed. Rodriguez, send a response on the same frequency they used. Tell them that humans have received their message, and we're coming to help. Maya's hands shook as she typed. Captain, should I tell them how many ships we have? No, just tell them help is coming. Lisa pressed the ship's communication button that connected her to every room on the horizon. Her voice echoed through the corridors. Attention all crew. This is Captain Harper. We have received a distress call from an alien species called the Zelani. They are being attacked by another alien race called the Vorok. These people are in danger and they've asked for help. I've decided that we're going to answer their call. She paused, letting that sink in. I know this isn't what we signed up for when we left Earth. We came out here to explore and discover new things. Well, we've discovered that we're not alone in the universe. We've also discovered that some of our new neighbors need help. At 18 hours, we'll reach their location. Use that time to prepare. Check your equipment, get some rest, and remember what we're fighting for. Harper out. Jake felt proud and scared at the same time. They were about to become the first humans to fight alongside aliens. They were also probably about to die. Navigator, set course for Kepler 442. Maximum speed, Lisa ordered. The ship's engines hummed louder as they accelerated. Jake watched the stars change on the main screen as they turned toward there. New destination. Nathan was still working at his station. Captain, I've been thinking about something. Zelani sent their message in all directions, hoping someone would hear it. But they couldn't have known who might answer. They don't know anything about humans. What's your point, Doctor? Lisa asked. Nathan looked up with a strange expression. They asked for help from anyone who could hear them. But Captain, they have no idea that they just sent a distress call to one of the most dangerous predator species in the galaxy. They asked for rescue, and they're about to get something much more violent than they expected. Lisa's smile was cold and sharp. Then I guess the Vorok are about to learn what happens when they threaten someone under human protection. The horizon flew through space toward a battle none of them were sure they could win. But they were going anyway, because that's what humans did. They protected the innocent, even when the innocent were complete strangers from another world. The horizon dropped out of hyperspace with a violent shudder that shook every deck. Jake Morrison grabbed his chair as the ship's lights flickered. On the main screen, space twisted and snapped back to normal as they returned to regular speed. What? They saw made everyone on the bridge go silent. 3 alien ships hung in space ahead of them. They were beautiful in a way that human ships never were. The hulls curved like flower petals, smooth and white with soft blue lights running along their sides. They looked like they were made for peace, not war, but they were also clearly damaged. Pieces of metal floated around them. One ship had a huge hole in its side. Another was spinning slowly, its engines dark. My God, Maya whispered from her station. They're really aliens. 6 larger ships were chasing the damaged vessels. These ships looked completely different. They were dark brown and black, with surfaces that seemed to move and pulse like living. Skin, strange spikes and claws stuck out from their hulls. They looked like giant insects or parasites. Those must be the Vorok, Jake said. Lieutenant Commander Ryan Kelly. The ship's weapons officer was already studying the enemy ships. He was a quiet man who had fought pirates before joining the exploration fleet. His fingers moved quickly across his control panel. "Captain, I count 6 hostile vessels. They're bigger than us, but they're moving slowly. Their weapons look designed to disable, not destroy. They want those alien ships intact." Lisa Harper stood in the center of the bridge watching the scene unfold. "They want prisoners, not wreckage." "Rodriguez, can you contact the damaged ships?" Maya worked at her station for several minutes. Static filled the air, then cleared into voices. The alien language sounded even more frightened than it had in the original message. "I'm getting a response, Captain. Running it through the translation system now." Voice came through the speakers. It sounded tired and desperate. "Unknown vessel. Please identify yourself. Are you more Vorok ships? We surrender. Please don't hurt our children." Lisa took a deep breath. This was humanity's first conversation with an alien species. "Rodriguez, open a channel. All them were humans and we received their distress call. We're here to help." Translation. Took a few seconds, then silence from the alien ship. Finally, a different voice came through, stronger and clearer. "Did you say you received our message? Are you the ones who responded? But that's impossible. We sent that signal into empty space. We never expected anyone to answer. Tell them my name is Captain Lisa Harper of the human vessel Horizon. Heard their call for help, and we came as fast as we could." Another long pause. Then the alien voice returned, filled with wonder and disbelief. "Captain Harper, this is Elder Zaraki of the Zelani people. We are honored to meet you, but you must leave this place immediately. The Vorok are too powerful. They have destroyed our entire world. You cannot fight them with just one ship." Lisa smiled grimly. "Elder Zaraki, humans don't abandon people. Who need help? We're going to get you out of here." Jake watched the Vorok ships on the screen. They had stopped moving toward the Zelani vessels and were now turning to face the horizon. Apparently, they were curious about the new arrival. Captain Ryan reported the Vorok ships are powering up their weapons. "I think they want to capture us too." Marine Sergeant Carlos Lopez entered the bridge. He was a big man with scars on his face and arms from fighting pirates. He carried his helmet under one arm and his rifle across his back. Behind him came 6 more Marines, all armed and ready for battle. "Captain, my squad is ready for boarding action if needed," Carlos said. "Though I have to say, those Vorok ships look pretty ugly." Lisa nodded. "Good, we might need you soon." She turned back to the communications station. "Elder Zaraki, we need you to move your ships away from the Vorok. Can your engines still work?" "Barely, Captain Harper." "Where can we go? They are faster than us. They have been hunting us for days. Move toward us. We'll protect you." The alien voice sounded confused. "Protect us? Captain Harper? How many ships do you have?" "Just this one?" Complete silence from the alien ship. Finally, Elder Zaraki spoke again, very carefully. "Captain Harper, there are 6 Vorok ships. Each one is larger than your vessel. With respect, how do you plan to fight them all?" Jake saw Lisa's smile grow wider and more dangerous. It was the same smile she had worn when fighting pirates. Who thought they could intimidate her? "Elder Zaraki, let me explain something about humans. We come from a world that tried to kill us every day for millions of years. We had to fight giant predators, survive ice ages, and compete with other dangerous species just to stay alive. We didn't become peaceful explorers by being weak. We became explorers because we conquered our own planet first." The translation took longer this time. When Elder Zaraki responded, her voice sounded different. "I'm certain. Captain Harper, are you saying that humans are predators?" "Yes, Elder Zaraki. We are. And right now, something is threatening our new friends. We take that personally." Jake watched the Vorok ships on the screen. They were moving closer now, probably trying to decide if the human ship was a threat or just another victim. Dr. Sarah Martinez, the ship's scientist who studied alien life, hurried onto the bridge. She had been analyzing the sensor readings of the Vorok ships. Sarah was a small woman with quick hands and an even quicker mind. Captain, Sarah said breathlessly. I've been studying their ships. The hulls are organic, grown rather than built. The weapons seem to fire some kind of energy beam that disrupts electronic systems. They're designed to disable prey, not kill it. What about weaknesses? Lisa asked. Sarah looked at her datapad. The ships seem to be controlled by a central organism. If you damage the command section, the whole ship might become confused. Also, their organic hulls might not handle our kinetic weapons very well. They're used to fighting species that use energy weapons. Ryan looked up from his weapons station. Captain, our railguns should punch right through those organic hulls, and our missiles carry explosive warheads, not just energy blasts. Lisa nodded. Good, Lopez. What do you think about boarding one of those ships? Carlos grinned, showing several missing teeth. Captain, I've been in fights with pirates who used blades and clubs. These bug ships don't scare me. My Marines and I would love to show these Vorok what human soldiers can do up close. On the main screen, one of the Vorok ships was moving ahead of the others. It was probably trying to communicate with the human vessel to demand surrender, or threaten them. Maya's station beeped. Captain, we're receiving a transmission from the lead Vorok ship. Put it through the translator. A new voice filled the bridge. It was cold and hungry, like a snake talking. Unknown vessel, you will surrender immediately. You will join the other prey in our holding areas. Resistance will only cause unnecessary pain. Lisa's smile disappeared. Her face became hard and angry. Rodriguez, send this message back to them. Tell them that humans don't surrender. Tell them that they just made the biggest mistake of their lives by threatening peaceful people in front of us. Jake felt excitement and fear mixing in his stomach. The Vorok had no idea what they were dealing with. For millions of years, humans had been persistent hunters. They chased their prey across vast distances, never giving up, never stopping. They had climbed to the top of Earth's food, chained by being more stubborn and more violent than anything else on their planet. Now, for the first time, they were going to hunt in space. All stations prepare for combat, Lisa ordered. Ryan, target the lead Vorok ship. Aim for what looks like the command section. Carlos, get your Marines ready to board if we disable one of their ships. Elder Zeraki's voice came through the speakers again. She sounded amazed and terrified. Captain Harper, what are you doing? You're going to attack them? Elder Zeraki, you asked for help. Now this is what human help looks like. The Vorok ships were spreading out now, trying to surround the horizon. They had obviously decided that the humans needed to be captured or destroyed. Jake watched the battle display on his screen. 6 alien ships against 1 human vessel. The Vorok probably thought this would be easy. They were about to learn why humans were the most dangerous species on their planet. They were about to discover that when humans heard a cry for help, they didn't send diplomats or negotiators. They sent soldiers. The battle began without warning. The lead Vorok ship fired first, sending a green energy beam toward the horizon. Ryan Kelly watched it coming on his screen and smiled coldly. Had seen this kind of weapon before when fighting pirates. Nice. For impact, he called out. The energy beam hit the horizon shields and spread across them like water. The ship shook, but the lights stayed on. The Vorok weapon was designed to shut down electrical systems, but human ships had backup power systems that kicked in automatically. Shields holding at 80%, Ryan reported. Their weapons are designed for ships that don't have redundant power systems. Lisa Harper stood in the center of the bridge, watching the enemy ships move into attack formation. Fire back, Mr. Kelly. Show them what human weapons can do. Ryan's fingers danced across his controls. The Horizon's main railgun spun up with a low humming sound that everyone on the bridge could feel in their bones. It fired a solid metal projectile at incredible speed. The railgun slug hit the lead Vorok ship and punched completely through its organic hull. The alien ship shuddered and began bleeding some kind of green fluid into space. Pieces of its living armor floated away like torn skin. On the communications channel, Elder Zeraki's voice sounded shocked. By the great light, what kind of weapon was that? Kinetic projectile, Jake Morrison explained, while watching the tactical display. We throw pieces of metal very, very fast. The Vorok ships seemed confused. They'd probably never seen their armor penetrated so easily. The damaged ship was falling behind the others, green fluid still leaking from its wound. "Captain, Doctor." Sarah Martinez called from her science station. "I'm reading massive disruption in the damaged ship's bioelectric field. I think that railgun hit something important." Lisa nodded. "Ryan, target the next ship. Same weapon." But the Vorok were learning. The remaining 5 ships spread out and began firing from different angles. Green energy beams lanced through space toward the horizon. The human ship twisted and turned. Using its engines to dodge the slower alien weapons, Chief Engineer Bobby Williams called up from the engine room. "Captain, I can give you more power to the shields, but I'll have to pull it from somewhere else." "Do it, Bobby. Pull power from everything except weapons and life support." The ship's lights dimmed as Bobby redirected power to the defensive systems. The next Vorok energy beam hit the shields and barely made them flicker. Ryan fired the railgun. Again. The shot hit a second Vorok ship in what looked like its engine section. The alien vessel began spinning out of control, its organic propulsion system damaged. 2 down, 4 to go, Ryan announced. But the remaining Vorok ships were getting closer. Jake watched them on the tactical screen and realized what they were doing. "Captain, they're trying to get close enough to board us. Look at those extending tubes coming out of their holes." Lisa saw it too. The alien ships had grown long, flexible tubes from their sides, like the tentacles of some deep-sea creature. They were moving in to attach those tubes to the horizons. "Hull, they want to board us," she said. "Lopez, are your Marines ready?" Carlos Lopez's voice came over the internal communications from the armory. "We've been ready, Captain. Let them come." The nearest Vorok ship managed to attach its boarding tube to the horizon's hull with a loud clang that echoed through the entire ship. Cutting tools began working on the human ship's armor. "Hull breach in Section 7, reported the damage control officer. "They're cutting through." Lisa pressed the ship's internal communication button. "All crew, we are being boarded. Security. Teams to Section 7. This is not a drill." Down in Section 7, Carlos Lopez and his Marines waited behind makeshift barriers. They had moved furniture and equipment to create defensive positions in the corridor where the aliens would enter. Each Marine carried an assault rifle, extra ammunition, and a combat knife. The Vorok cutting tools finished their work. A circular section of the ship's hull fell inward with a crash. Green light poured through the opening, followed by the first Vorok boarders. The aliens were nightmare creatures. They stood upright like humans, but their skin was the same dark, organic material as their ships. They had 4 arms, each ending in sharp claws. Their heads were insect-like, with compound eyes and mandibles that clicked constantly. They carried weapons that looked grown rather than manufactured. "Welcome to humanity," Carlos said, and opened fire. The Marine assault rifles roared in the confined space. The Vorok had probably never faced projectile weapons before. Their organic armor, designed to stop energy beams, did nothing against high-velocity bullets. The first 3 aliens through the breach died instantly. Green blood splattered the walls. More Vorok poured through the opening, but the Marines were ready for them. Private Danny Kim threw a grenade into the boarding tube. The explosion echoed through the alien ship, and no more boarders came through. "That entrance, boarding tube 1, is clear," Carlos reported to the bridge. But 2 more Vorok ships had attached their tubes to other parts of the horizon. The aliens were trying to board from multiple directions. On the bridge, Ryan continued firing the railgun at the remaining ships. Each shot either killed or disabled a Vorok vessel, but there were still too many of them. Captain Maya called. From communications, Elder Zareki is asking if she can help. Her ships still have some weapons working. Lisa looked at the tactical display. The 3 Zelani ships were moving closer, their elegant hulls scarred, but their crews determined to help their rescuers. "Tell her to target the Vorok ships that are trying to board us. Even damaged weapons might be enough to break those tubes." 3 days after the battle, Gake Morrison stood in the Horizon's medical bay, watching something he had never expected to see. Dr. Kevin Torres, the ship's chief medical officer, was working alongside an alien doctor to treat wounded crew members. The Zelani healer was named Healer Nimrah. She was tall and thin, with pale blue skin and large silver eyes that seemed to glow in the medical bay's bright lights. Her four-fingered hands moved gently as she applied some kind of healing gel to a Marine's bruised ribs.
Ow.
This is incredible, Kevin whispered to Jake. Her people have medical technology that's centuries ahead of ours. That gel she's using actually speeds up bone healing. Jake watched as Private Kim, who had been injured during the boarding action, sat up and moved his arm without pain. The broken ribs that had taken him out of the fight were already healing. What do we give them in return? Jake asked. Kevin smiled. Knowledge of human biology. Apparently we heal much faster than most species they know. Healer Nimra is fascinated by our immune system. She says we fight off infections that would kill most other aliens. In another part of the ship, Dr. Nathan Brooks was working with Elder Zeraki and several other Zelani scholars. They were sharing information about the galaxy and its many species. What Nathan was learning made him both excited and worried. Captain Harper needs to hear this, Nathan said to Elder Zeraki. Many other species have the Vorok destroyed. Elder Zeraki's silver eyes became sad. 17 civilizations. That we know of, Dr. Brooks. The Vorok have been hunting across this part of the galaxy for over 1,000 of your years. They find a peaceful species, consume their population, and move on to the next world. Nathan felt sick, and no one has ever stopped them. How could we? Most species in this galaxy are like my people. We grew up on safe worlds with plenty of food and no dangerous predators. We learned to build and create and explore. We never learned to fight. But surely some species must have weapons. Elder Zeraki nodded slowly. Yes, some do. But when the Vorok come, most species try to negotiate. Or surrender. They offer the Vorok what they want in exchange for being left alone. It never works. The Vorok only want one thing. What's that? Food? Nathan left the meeting feeling cold inside. He found Captain Harper on the bridge, where she was reading reports from Earth. The news was not good. Captain, we need to talk, Nathan said. What I've learned about the Vorok changes everything. Lisa looked up from her reports. What do you mean? Nathan sat down at an empty station. The Vorok aren't just raiders or pirates. They're a civilization based entirely on consuming other civilizations. They've been doing this for centuries. And Captain, they're not done. Elder Zeraki says the main Vorok fleet is still coming. How big is their main fleet? Over 200 ships. Lisa was quiet for a long moment. And how many ships do we have out here? Just us. Jake had been listening to the conversation. Captain, maybe it's time to call for backup. Earth Defense Force has ships that could get here in a few weeks. Lisa shook her head. Look at these reports, Morrison. 3 different pirate fleets are attacking our outer colonies. The Defense Force can't spare any ships right now. She stood up and walked to the main screen, which showed the peaceful starfield around them. We're on our own. Maya Rodriguez looked up from her communications station. Captain, I'm receiving a transmission from Earth Defense Force Command. It's Admiral Patricia Stone. Lisa had served under Admiral Stone years ago. Commander who had fought in humanity's first space wars, put her through. Admiral Stone's face appeared on the main screen. She was an older woman with gray hair and scars from an old battle. Her expression was serious. Captain Harper, I've read your report about first contact with alien species. The situation you've described is being reviewed by the highest levels of government. Admiral, we need reinforcements. The main Vorok fleet is coming, and we can't fight 200 ships with just the horizon. Admiral Stone's expression became grim. Lisa, I wish I could send you help, but we have our own problems. The Crimson Fleet pirates have hit 3 colonies in the past week. I need every ship I have to protect human space. Lisa felt her heart sink. So we're abandoned out here? Not abandoned. But you're going to have to hold out until we can spare ships to help you. Admiral Stone leaned forward on the screen. Lisa, what you've accomplished out there is incredible. First contact with peaceful aliens, and you've proven that humanity can protect other species. The politicians are very interested in what this could mean for our place in the galaxy. Politicians don't fight battles, Admiral. No, they don't. But they do decide policy. And right now, The policy is that humanity doesn't abandon its friends. Admiral Stone's expression softened slightly. Help is coming, Lisa. I'm putting together a task force, but it will take time. Can you hold out? Lisa looked around the bridge at her crew. We'll do what we have to do. I know you will. Stone out. The transmission ended, leaving the bridge in silence. Jake knew what everyone was thinking. 200 Vorok ships against one human vessel. It was hopeless. Elder Zelani entered the bridge, accompanied by 2 other Zelani. Jake was still amazed by how graceful they were, moving like dancers. Even in the cramped human corridors, Captain Harper, we need to discuss something important, Elder Zelani said. My people have been talking, and we want to help you fight the Vorok. Lisa turned from the main screen. Elder Zelani, I appreciate the offer, but your ships are already damaged. And with respect, your people aren't soldiers. This is true. But we have something else to offer. Elder Zelani gestured to one of her companions. This is Engineer Telnum. He's been studying your ship's design. The Zelani engineer stepped forward. He was shorter than Elder Zelani, with hands that were stained blue from working with alien technology. Captain Harper, your weapons are very powerful, but your defensive systems could be improved. We have shield technology that could make your ship much harder to destroy. Dr. Sarah Martinez had been listening from her science station. What kind of improvements are we talking about? Engineer Telnam pulled out a small device that projected a hologram of the horizon. Our people develop shields that can absorb energy attacks and redirect that power to other ship systems. Combined with your ship's armor and backup power systems, it would make you nearly impossible to disable. Chief Engineer Bobby Williams came onto the bridge, wiping grease from his hands. He had been working almost non-stop since the battle too. Repair damage from the Vorok boarding action. Captain, I've been talking with their engineers about the shield upgrade. It's amazing technology. It'll take time to install, and we'll need to completely rebuild some of our power systems. How long? Lisa asked. 2 days, working around the clock. Lisa considered this. 2 days of being completely vulnerable while they modified the ship. But if it worked, they might actually have a chance against the main Vorok fleet. Elder Zelani, why are you willing to help us like this? You could take your people and run to the other side of the galaxy. Elder Zelani's silver eyes seemed to glow brighter. Captain Harper, for 1,000 years, my people have run from the Vorok. We have watched 17 civilizations die, because no one was strong enough to fight back. But you fought back. You saved us when you had no reason to help strangers. She paused, looking around the bridge at the human crew. You asked us once what it means to be human. Now I understand. To be human means to protect others, even when it costs you everything. That is something worth fighting for. Jake felt a chill run down his spine. In 3 days, humanity had gone from being alone in the universe to being the protectors of other species. It was a responsibility that felt both terrifying and right. Do it, Lisa decided. Start the modifications. Elder Zelani, prepare your people for battle. When the Vorok main fleet arrives, we're going to show them that the galaxy has changed. Outside the ship, stars twinkled peacefully in the darkness. Somewhere in that darkness, 200 alien predators were coming, expecting an easy hunt. They were about to discover that their prey had found a pack. The Vorok main fleet arrived like a nightmare made real. Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the horizon, watching 200 alien ships drop out of hyperspace. Each one was massive, bigger than anything humanity had ever built. They moved through space like living creatures, their organic hulls pulsing with dark energy. My God, Maya whispered from her station. There are so many of them. The past 2 days had been the busiest of Jake's life. Human engineers and Zelani technicians had worked together to rebuild the Horizon's defensive systems. The ship now had shields that could absorb energy attacks and turn that power back into weapons. But looking at the enemy fleet, Jake wondered if it would be enough. Captain Ryan Kelly reported from his weapons station, I count 200, and 12 Vorok ships. Largest ones are 10 times our size. Lisa Harper stood in the center of the bridge, calm and ready. She had fought impossible battles before, but never anything like this. Elder Zareki, are your people ready? Elder Zareki stood beside the captain's chair. Over the past 2 days, she had become more than just an alien refugee. She had become a partner in the fight for her people's survival. Our 3 ships are prepared, Captain Harper. We have installed the best weapons we could manage, but I must be honest with you. We are not warriors. We will try to help, but we are afraid. Lisa smiled grimly. Fear is good, Elder Zareki. Fear keeps you alive, but remember, you're not fighting alone anymore. The massive Vorok fleet began moving toward them, spreading out to surround the small human and Zelani force. Jake watched the tactical display and felt his stomach tighten. It looked like a swarm of giant insects moving to devour a few small birds. Dr. Sarah Martinez called out from her science station.
Captain?
I'm reading massive bioelectric activity from the center of their fleet. I think their command ship is much larger than the ones we fought before. How much larger? Lisa asked. At least 20 times the size of our ship. It's not just a command vessel, Captain. I think it's their mobile headquarters for this entire invasion. Jake understood what that meant. The Vorok weren't just here to destroy the Zelani survivors. This was a full military operation, probably, planned to conquer this entire region of space. A new voice came through the communications system. It was cold and hungry, like the sound of something that had never known mercy. Small ships, you will surrender immediately. Your resistance in the previous engagement was noted but futile. Surrender now, and your deaths will be quick. Lisa picked up her communications headset. This is Captain Lisa Harper of the human vessel Horizon. Let me explain something to you. Humans don't surrender. We especially don't surrender when someone threatens innocent people in front of us. Double quotes, silence from the Vorok fleet, and the alien voice returned, sounding confused. You were the species that destroyed our hunting pack. Impossible. We're too small. Too few. We're small. Yes, but we're not few. You see, when humans hear that someone needs help, we don't just send one ship. We send everything we have. Jake looked at Lisa with confusion. They were alone out here. There were no other human ships coming. What was she talking about? Then, he understood. Lisa was bluffing, trying to make the Vorok hesitate. It was a desperate trick, but it might buy them a few precious minutes. The Vorok voice came back, now sounding angry. You lie. Our scouts show only 4 ships. We'll be consumed like all the others. Then come and try, Lisa said simply. The Vorok fleet began its attack. Energy beams lanced through space toward the small human and Zelani force. The Horizon's new shields flared to life, absorbing the alien weapons and converting their power into energy for the ship's own systems. Shields holding, reported the defensive systems officer. Actually, they're getting stronger. The Zelani modifications are working perfectly. Ryan opened fire with every weapon the Horizon had. Railgun slugs and missiles streaked toward the nearest Vorok ships. The human weapons punched through organic armor like paper, destroying enemy vessels with each hit. But there were too many of them. For every Vorok ship they destroyed, 10 more took its place. Captain, Jake called out. 3 Vorok ships are trying to board us again. Let them come, Lisa replied. Lopez, are your Marines ready? Carlos Lopez's voice came over the internal. Communications. We've been ready for 2 days, Captain. We've learned some new tricks from our Zelani friends. In the corridors of the ship, the Marines waited with weapons that had been modified with Zelani technology. The alien energy enhancements made their bullets more powerful and their armor stronger. When the Vorok boarders cut through the hull, they found humans who were even more dangerous than before. The battle raged for hours. The Horizon twisted and turned through space, using its speed and the improved shields to stay alive. The 3 Zelani ships fought bravely, their blue energy weapons cutting through Vorok vessels, but slowly, inevitably, they were being overwhelmed. Captain Ryan reported, We're down to 60% ammunition. I count at least 100. And 50 enemy ships still active? Jake watched the tactical display with growing despair. They had fought brilliantly, destroying dozens of Vorok ships, but it wasn't enough. There were simply too many of them. Then Maya's communications board lit up with new signals. Captain, I'm detecting hyperspace signatures. Multiple ships dropping. Out of hyperspace at the edge of the system, on the main screen, new ships appeared. Human ships. The heavy cruiser used Defiance led the formation, followed by the carrier U.S. Liberty and a dozen smaller vessels. Jake felt his heart leap with hope. Admiral Patricia Stone's voice came through the communications system. Captain Harper, this is Admiral Stone aboard the Defiance. Sorry we're late to the party. Lisa's face broke into a huge smile. Admiral, how did you get here so fast? When word spread through the fleet about what you were doing out here, every captain volunteered for this mission. We've been traveling at maximum speed for 3 days. Admiral Stone's voice became serious. Now let's finish this. The human fleet spread out and began their attack. The Defiance's massive railguns could destroy a Vorok ship with a single shot. The Liberty launched fighter craft that swarmed around the alien vessels like angry wasps. Captain Troy Phillips of the Defiance targeted the massive Vorok command ship. His weapons were much larger than anything on the horizon, designed to fight other human warships in major battles. Is for threatening peaceful people, Captain Phillips said over the communications channel. He fired everything the Defiance had at the alien command ship. The massive biovessel staggered under the assault. Its organic armor began to crack and bleed. But it was too big to destroy with conventional weapons. I'm going to ram it, Captain, Phillips announced. All hands prepare for impact. Phillips, no, Admiral Stone called out. Can find another way. Admiral, that thing is the heart of their fleet. If I don't stop it now, it will escape and attack other worlds. Captain Phillips's voice was calm and determined. Tell Earth that the Defiance died, protecting our friends. The heavy cruiser accelerated toward the Vorok command ship. At the last second, Captain Phillips activated his ship's self-destruct system. The explosion lit up space like a new star. When the light faded, the massive alien vessel was gone, destroyed completely. Without their command ship, the remaining Vorok fleet began to panic. Just like in the first battle, they lost coordination. The human ships hunted them down one by one, showing no mercy to creatures that had consumed 17 civilizations. Within 2 hours, the Vorok fleet was completely destroyed. Not a single alien ship escaped. Elder Zeraki stood on the bridge of the horizon, watching the wreckage of her people's greatest enemy floating in space. Tears ran down her blue cheeks. It's over, she whispered. After 1,000 years, it's finally over. Lisa put her hand on the alien's shoulder. Yes, it's over. The Vorok will never threaten anyone again. Admiral Stone's face appeared on the main screen. Captain Harper, you've done something incredible here. It's first contact with peaceful aliens, and you've eliminated a threat to the entire galaxy. Jake looked around the bridge at his crewmates and their new Zelani friends. They had started this mission as explorers, looking for new worlds and resources. Instead, they had found something much more important. They had found their purpose in the galaxy, Admiral Lisa said. I think humanity just became the galaxy's protectors. Species out there is going to hear about what happened here. That's exactly what I'm hoping for, Admiral Stone replied. The galaxy needs someone willing to stand up to bullies and predators. Apparently, that someone is us. Maya's communications board beeped with a new signal. She listened for a moment, then looked up with excitement. Captain, I'm receiving another distress call. Different species, different language, but the same message. They're asking for help. Lisa looked at Jake, then at Elder Zeraki. The alien nodded with understanding. Rodriguez, send a response. Tell them that humans have received their message, and we're coming to help. The horizon and the human fleet turned toward the new signal. Behind them, the wreckage of the Vorok armada drifted in space. A warning to any other predators who might threaten the innocent. The Deathworlders were listening, and they were ready to answer any call for help.